Well, I've actually got some pre-cure paint here. And for this particular customer, this is what comes off their extruder. It's nasty looking. It's got a bunch of this cord in. And when it comes off their extruder right now, they're actually coating this with a zinc stearate because they're stacking all this rubber on top of each other. And that zinc stearate, it allows the rubber not to stick to it. But they've got problems with EPA with the zinc stearate, and they've got problems with the cord. So we just ran a trial here last month using a pre-cure paint. And what that pre-cure paint does, it covers up the cord and it acts as the anti-tack. And then it also will help in curing too because it promotes the rubber flow. So those are some of the tests that we're running right now on other customers. But kind of like what I'm showing you is there's so many opportunities with rubber products. It's kind of endless. I mean, you fall. It's not just tires. I mean, it can be anything really. This is normally what I'll travel with, this 2-quart pressure cup, because you can go in to a customer's. I've got it set up with 2 regulators on it. So one regulator's control my fluid, the other one's controlling air. I can actually take that online and just run a simple like striping trial with it, or I can hook up a spray gun to it. So these things are really handy to have. Being a distributor, if you want to go out and do some trials, it's so versatile. I'll normally carry 2 of those in my bag when I go out on demos. And actually what I just sprayed on there is the water-based pre-cure paint. So if this works out for this customer, what they would do is they would spray it on all their preform, and this is actually hot when it's coming off their extruder. And it dries in about 20 foot, but it covers up all that cord that you've seen. They don't have to put that zinc stearate on it. And then
drop another one straight on the top.
Pardon me?
They can drop another one straight on the top.
Yeah, once it's dry. But normally, once it comes through the extruder, it gets sprayed, and it goes 20 or 30 feet. It's dry. This was drying down there in about probably 20 seconds. And the line was actually moving pretty fast. It was, I think it was about 75 feet per minute. So it was really moving fast for a spray application. So it just wigwags around and it comes down. A machine chops it. And then they got some guys that are just stacking, and then these sections actually go into a big curing press, and they'll actually make like a truck bed mat out of it. If they can do this, then it may eliminate painting them after curing.
Yeah.
So it's going to help in a couple different ways.
And this would be done with automatic spray equipment?
Yeah, you would have probably like a bank of spray guns like this. I actually just picked this one up. This, I don't know if you've seen this, but this is one of DeVilbiss' new guns. It's a manifold style. So if you've got a problem with the gun, you can shut your air and fluid off. You don't need any tools. You can pop that right off a robot arm or right off the conveyor, and pop a whole nother head on and take this to the bench and service it or whatever, so you don't have much downtime. But it's really a slick gun that they've come out with. And I want to go over the repair paint, but the other thing I kind of wanted to go over some of the spray equipment too, because a lot of times I'll get asked a lot of questions. Well, where do I set my pressures for spraying? And I always hate to tell people, set your fluid pressure at this amount, set your air pressure, at this amount, because like right now I've got maybe 10 foot of hose on this. if I was to put this 75-foot of hose on, it's gonna make a difference in how much pressure I'm gonna need. So what I'd like to recommend anytime that you're setting up a spray, and I've got a lot of other stuff mounted on here that doesn't need to be on here. Basically, I've got one regulator that's pressurizing the tank and one regulator that will be for my atomization air to the gun. So anytime you're out at the customers and you're doing a spray application, whether it be spraying water-based cement or repair paint, I recommend that turn your atomization air off and bring your fluid pressure up. I can see it's going through the hose. What I recommend telling people is actually start out low and do a flow rate. So I don't have any air coming out of the gun. What I would do is actually get a measuring cup, and I don't have my stopwatch here, but I would actually time it. So I'd go for usually 30 seconds. So if that was 30 seconds, and I looked at my flow rate, which I'm about 4 ounces right now, what I'd do is I'd double that. So that's telling me I got 8 ounces of material coming out of that gun. And usually that's where I like to tell people to start as a good starting point. Start out at 8 ounces coming out of that gun per minute. And from there, what you'll do is actually
Now you're talking specifically for repair paint here, or for?
No, this is for everything. Whether you'd be doing cement, regular paint, start out at an 8 ounce flow rate, and then come up on your air pressure. This would be for the atomization air that's actually coming out of the gun. And like right now, I normally don't even look at gauges. So I know I've got 8 ounces coming out of the gun. What I would do is do a quick pass. See how coarse those droplets are? What I would want to do is come up on the atomization air. And what that's doing is going to make a finer mist. It's going to atomize those particles. See how much finer that is? Now from there, let's say if I was at a customer's and I gave them the gun and once I have it adjusted, I don't know what their production speed is. So if I'm not keeping up in production, then you can just reach down and bump their fluid pressure up a little bit more. Or if it's too much pressure, you can actually take it down. But usually that 8 ounces is a good starting point. This is one of those mud flaps that I've got a customer currently doing now. This one's not been painted, and actually you don't see a lot of the cord in it. It looks pretty good, but I'll just go ahead and spray it here real quick. One thing you saw me do is I've got the air going on the gun. With water-based materials, air movement is key for getting that dry, because you're blowing that kind of like the humidity, and it allows that. So if I just set this off to the side, it's going to take probably 10-15 minutes to actually dry. But if I've got some air moving it across, usually 3 to 5 minutes, and it'll be dry. So that was kind of a little bit with the repair paints. Sprayed a little bit of that would be the pre-cure paint application. And what that'll do for a tire is on that pre-cure paint is when they go into the mold, it promotes rubber flow, and that tire actually comes out looking a little bit better because it's all more uniform in color too. So it's just not an application for spraying those pieces that got the cording in. They actually use a lot of Precure paint here in Akron on the race tires that they build. So it makes all the race tires, so all four of the tires look identically the same.